Good morning and welcome to World Mental Health Day 24, Prioritising Workplace Mental Health. I'm Dr. Sue Palmer-Con, aka the Divorce Doctor. And this presentation is going to take you through why businesses should be prioritising not just workplace mental health, but mental health caused through divorce. I'm going to start with a story. It was January the 8th, 2001. It was a cold, wet and windy day. I was driving along in the fast lane of the M62 trying to get to work. And all of a sudden, I started having chest pains. I was sweating. I couldn't breathe. I managed to pull over to the hard shoulder. I thought I was having a heart attack. A policeman stopped behind me and came to the car asking if I was okay, and recognised I was having a panic attack. Why was I having a panic attack? I was always the cool, calm one. But what had happened a few weeks before, over Christmas, sent me into a spin. My husband of 25 years announced that he was no longer in love with me and wanted a divorce. It was the first Monday of the new year, and I was visiting a solicitor to apply for divorce. It wasn't what I wanted. It certainly wasn't what I planned for the new year. And for the next 9 months at work, I know I was not working to my full capacity. I made mistakes. I missed deadlines. It was a new job. It was so important, especially now that I was going to have to become self-sufficient. I had no one to talk to, no support. How could it have been so different if I'd only found the courage to talk to somebody? Or somebody had noticed that my eyes were dead, that I wasn't my usual bubbly self. They say a problem shared is a problem halved. Normally I was the one in control, but for that time my mental health was up and down. If anyone had taken the time to look into my eyes, they would have found them lifeless. My normal bubbly self was crying inside. I did my job to the best of my ability, but it wasn't my best work. The stress from the divorce and the separation can cause untold damage to mental health, and it was certainly causing me to have severe mental health problems. Why is this? The Holmes Race Stress Inventory gives a whole list of things with stress numbers. Death of a spouse is marked as 100. Divorce is marked as 73. But when you then look at everything that leads up to divorce, separation, perhaps reconciliation, perhaps even separating again, changes in finances, increased arguments, problems with the in-laws, changing in living conditions, having to move house, disturbed sleep, changing in eating habits. Add all those together and we come to a total of 360. According to the scale, levels of over 180 increase the risk of mental and physical ill health by 80%. So 360 is double that. So it's inevitable almost that people will suffer some form of mental health disturbance. I'm going to give you some scary stats. Divorce costs UK businesses 54 billion every year. Yes, you heard me right. Billion with a B. But how many employers or managers even know that figure? 250,000 people are going through divorce or separation every year. Those figures are only for divorce. Separations add a huge number to that. And then when you take into account the effects on the children, the family, work colleagues, you can see those numbers become really huge. The average age of divorce is 45. So we're talking here about people with years of experience, senior managers. In a recent survey by the Parents' Promise, 90% of employees said that their separation or divorce affected their ability to work. 95% said their separation or divorce affected their mental health in the workplace. 74% said that they worked less well or less efficiently. 39% took extra days off work through ill health, whether that's mental or physical. 12% stopped work altogether. And they said only 9% of employees said that employers had specific policies for family transitions. Is that good enough? Employees experience a number of reasons why they're not going to be working efficiently. The emotional impact of divorce and separation causes stress and anxiety, depression, mood swings, decreased self-esteem, sleep disturbances, changes in eating habits, increased susceptibility to illnesses, and new stresses become prevalent: single parenting, moving home, loss of friends, loss of social contacts, leading to decreased productivity, increased absenteeism, increased presenteeism, difficulty concentrating, potential for workplace conflicts. And then on top of all that, there's financial stress. They're having to pay legal fees. They're having to adjust to a single income, potential relocation costs. All this adds up to a huge amount of stress. And although some people will say keep personal and professional lives separate, it's inevitable that there's a crossover. So in the workplace, as well as the individual experiencing stress, there's a potential for decreasing team morale. If one member of the team is down, it sometimes will drag other people down with them. Increased healthcare costs, especially if the workplace provides healthcare cover, the costs to the company are going to rise. We saw in the stats before that 12% of people leave their job. So with the average age being 45, can we afford to lose these skilled and experienced employees? There's a huge impact on the company culture. And as we saw, there's a big hit on the bottom line. Divorce is contagious. Even if it's one person in the team that's getting divorced, it leads to other people starting to question their own relationships. I'm going to show you some calculations using an algorithm that takes into account the number of employees, the average age, the average salary of those employees, and then using the stats from before, We know that at any one time, 10% of the workplace may be going through divorce or separation. 10 to 12% may lose their job. And this is what happens. Take a medium size operation with 500 employees on an average salary of 25,000, and the annual loss is £1,030,528.85. Can your company afford to lose that much? In a much bigger company with 5,000 employees on an average salary of 35,000, we're now looking at 14 million plus annual loss. In a small company of 50 employees on an average salary of 30,000, we're looking at £123,663. Can a small company afford to lose that much every year because they're not offering the right level of support for their employees? So how can we support employees through divorce? We can look at our HR policies and benefits that are offered, offering flexible work arrangements, having specialists within the employee assistance programs, reviewing health insurance and beneficiary designations. Those might change after divorce. Management strategies should look at open communications, sensitivity training for managers, trying to balance empathy with performance expectations. By creating a supportive work environment, we can be promoting work-life balance, encouraging the use of available resources, whether those are internal or external, and fostering a culture of understanding. There are also some legal considerations. Obviously, making sure that you're compliant with GDPR and data protection, ensuring that any personal information related to an employee's divorce is handled confidentially, making sure to get explicit consent before sharing any personal information, being careful about how discussions relating to the employee's divorce is documented, ensuring that employees have reasonable amounts of time off to deal with emergencies involving dependents, including making arrangements for children following a relationship breakdown. Many of your employees may be becoming single parents and may have to take phone calls from school or start later, finish earlier so that they can do the school pick off and drop off. We may need to make arrangements for dealing with requests for flexible working arrangements in an empathetic manner. Remember, marital status is a protected characteristic. Therefore, we need to look carefully at policies and practices to make sure that we don't discriminate against people going through divorce. We might need to review and update policies that may be affected by changing marital status, health insurance, life insurance, pension schemes, company car, etc. Check the beneficiaries of policies that are updated. Many employees will struggle financially initially and may require financial assistance. You need to be clear about potential changes to tax codes or national insurance contributions following divorce. Also, you must comply with any court orders related to an employee's divorce. For instance, income deduction orders for maintenance payments. And you may have to be prepared to provide factual information if required by the court, dealing with the salary, etc. Employers have a duty of care to employees to ensure that the workplace does not exacerbate mental health issues related to divorce, making reasonable adjustments where necessary. In addition, we need to consider providing training for HR professionals and managers on handling sensitive personal issues, developing clear guidelines on what support can be offered and how to maintain professional boundaries. So long-term strategies will include developing comprehensive wellness programs, including specialists in emotional support and practical divorce guidance, regular review and update of relevant policies, and monitoring and measuring the effectiveness of support initiatives. So what can we do to help? We have an interactive lunch and learn workshop or webinar to raise awareness of the effects of divorce in the workplace. It's an expansion of this presentation. We can offer training programs in empathetic leadership and workplace divorce first aiders. We can give access to literature, access to professional divorce coaches. So if you want to know more about it, either email me, drsue@divorcedoctor.com, telephone on 07802 675 854, send me a message on LinkedIn on Sue Palmer Con. There is only one Sue Palmer Con on LinkedIn. Or look at my website, www.divorce-doctor.com. Thank you for listening.